All right, Internet, let's settle this once and for all. The 90s JDM car scene, was it really peak performance? Or was it just a bunch of unreliable, underpowered econoboxes with spoilers bigger than your stepdad's midlife crisis Harley? Because if you believe the forums, the magazines, and every guy who's ever owned a VTEC sticker, the 90s was the golden era. But when you stack them up against today's tech, you start to wonder. Maybe our rose-colored glasses are actually just foggy eBay projector headlights. Hey there everyone, it's Hope again from Pro Street TV, and today we are definitely going to be hurting some feelings. As always, if you enjoy long-form videos on JDM cars and car culture, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. It really does help out the channel, so thank you so much. Chapter 1. The Legend of the 90s. First, let's give credit where it's due. The 90s birthed legends: Supra, Skyline GT-R, RX-7, Evolution, Integra Type R. These weren't just cars. They were Pokémon for car nerds. You had to catch them all. Or at least print them out on your wall from Import Tuner magazine. Gran Turismo dropped in 1997 and gave every 12-year-old the ability to drive an R33 Skyline before they could even drive their mom's minivan. Then came Initial D, where an old Toyota Corolla suddenly became a god-tier drift machine. And of course, Fast and Furious turned these cars into pop culture icons. Overnight, your Honda Civic with a Pep Boys wing was basically a Ferrari in disguise. Owning a 90s JDM car in America back then was like owning a rare Pokémon card. Except instead of Charizard, you got Crankwalk. Other JDM legends grew outside of their already legendary status in many instances. The R34 GT-R, for example, was never officially sold in the US, but it became so mythologized that prices hit $250,000 once imports became legal. That's like paying Ferrari money for a car with cup holders too small to hold an actual drink. Chapter 2. The Reality Check. Here's where things get awkward. The 90s JDM cars felt fast, but were they? Let's take a look at 3 vehicles from that era. The MK4 Supra Twin Turbo, 320 horsepower, 0 to 60 in about 4.6 seconds. The R34 Skyline GT-R, 276 horsepower. Officially, thanks to Japan's gentleman's agreement, but closer to 330 horsepower in reality. EK9 Civic Type R, 182 horsepower. Yes, you heard that right. That's less than a modern Honda Odyssey minivan. Chapter 3. The Cost Argument. Back then, 90s JDM cars were the definition of affordable performance. A used Supra in 2005? 10 grand. A 240SX? 3 grand. An RX-7? Maybe 7 grand if you ignored the check engine light, which you had to because it was always on anyway. Fast forward to today, and the same Supra is $100,000. R34 GT-Rs? $200,000 plus. Even Civics are going for insane collector prices. You'd think VTEC was a retirement plan. Meanwhile, modern alternatives give you way more performance for a fraction of the cost. For the price of one clean R34, you could buy a new Nissan Z, a GR Supra, and still have enough left over to buy coilovers and blow them up on the dyno for Pro Street TV. Fact. The inflation-adjusted price of a 1998 Integra Type R was around $24,000. Today, clean ones are selling at auction for $70,000 plus. That's not appreciation, that's robbery. At this point, buying a 90s JDM car is less about driving and more about explaining to your wife why the house remodel got canceled. Chapter 4. The Reliability Myth. Yes, the old Japanese cars are bulletproof myth. let's talk reality. Where do we begin? The Mazda RX-7? Apex seals that last about as long as your last situationship, only with more pain if that's even possible. The Mitsubishi Eclipse and 4G63? Legendary for power and crank walk. How about the Skyline GT-R? Transfer cases and turbos that hated long highway pulls. Well then, surely Honda. Okay, fine. Hondas really were reliable. Until you bolted a turbo on your D-Series and grenaded the bottom end. These cars weren't indestructible. They just seemed reliable compared to the American stuff of the time, which could break down from a stiff breeze or a bad Limp Bizkit CD. Did you know? The RX-7 FD sold just 13,000 units in the US because Mazda got buried in warranty claims. That's why you don't see them on dealer lots anymore. Owning a 90s JDM car wasn't a reliability badge of honor. It was just learning to drive with the check engine light as your co-pilot. Chapter 5. The emotional factor. Now here's the real truth. 90s JDM cars weren't the best on paper. They weren't the fastest, the most reliable, or even the best value anymore. But they felt alive. The steering had feedback. The engines screamed to redline. You shifted your own gears. You actually heard turbos spool instead of being muted by fake engine noise through the speakers. Modern cars are objectively better. Safer, faster, more efficient. But they also feel like driving your iPhone on wheels. Everything's digital, quiet, sanitized. The 90s cars, they were raw. They were analog. They made you feel like a hero, even if your car couldn't outrun a modern Kia Stinger. Chapter 6. Why these JDM heroes still matter. So was the golden era overrated? Yes. Were the cars slower than you remember? Absolutely. Did they break constantly? You bet. Were they cheap once and now stupidly overpriced to the point of absurdity? 100%. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter. Because what these cars gave us was something numbers and specs can't measure. They gave us a culture, a community, a reason to wrench, to meet at midnight in parking lots, to argue on forums, to care. The 90s JDM era created legends. They weren't perfect, but they were ours. And that's why no matter how fast a new GR Corolla or Supra gets, we'll still bow down to the MK4, the R34, the RX-7, the Integra Type R. Because they weren't just cars. They were dreams on four wheels. And sometimes, dreams don't need logic. They just need boost. You guys still here? Thanks again for sticking to the end, everyone. My name is Hope, and until next time, this is Pro Street TV, signing off.